Hello, my name is Rusha, and welcome to my e-assessment series where I'll be making videos about the IB and YP assessment. So, in today's video, I'll be reviewing my mock assessment that I gave from my school. So, first of all, really hard paper, which I totally expect when I'm giving the assessment. So, how much did I score? So, I scored, these were my criteria points, and I scored extremely less in criteria C. So, this is a 63 out of 80, which, when put into the IB grade boundaries, it's reaches a 6 out of 7, and I'm obviously aiming for a 7. But yeah, so this was my mock paper. Obviously, this was bound to be more harder than the normal e-assessment paper because this is just, for you to practice. So this was the first question. So over here, I've been given a source A, the age dependency ratio in 2023. So over here, we can observe that we can, again, this was given on assess prep, and you could yeah, it's interactive too. So over here, I need to list two factors that could impact the percentage of the age dependency ratio in a country. So over here, I've listed, sorry, two factors, but since the command term was list, I was not aware that I needed to justify it too. But the teacher has given me 2 marks, but the explanation is not strong enough to show the direct impact on the age dependency ratio. So it lacks a clear link, which I'll make sure of in the future exam papers. So this was question 2, and usually in the IB assessment in integrated humanities, I there's a common trend wherein there's only 4 sources, so source A, B, C, D, that you interact with throughout the whole, question paper. So obviously this is the same source. Explain how the age dependency ratio impact the overall economic stability of a country. So the age dependency ratio impacts the overall economic stability of a nation in a prominent manner. So I've used prominent to show the extent to which it impacts the overall economic stability because it reflects the amount of people who may join the workforce and the public that may not join the workforce. So obviously, a workforce is extremely integral in determining the economic stability of a country. So that was one that was one impact that I've not really explained. So it highlights the amount of people that may need help from resources such as income and government as minors, 0 to 15 age individuals, and elderly public, which is 65 plus aged individuals, may also need help from public and private resources. Furthermore, impacts how dependent the nation's public is on the economy, too, reflecting the help they may need from the government, banks, employment companies, and more. So, where could I have improved in this answer? So, the reason I'm actually recording this is not to, show you how well I did or how bad I did. It's basically to tell you what an IB examiner wants. So this is the area for improvement. So suppose this is the, answer you cooked up. So the response correctly identifies the age group. So yes, it does correctly identify the age group, which is 1 mark that contributes to the dependency ratio. It acknowledges the role of government and private resources in supporting dependence. So these are the areas for improvement. Yes, it is repetitive and vague. So for 4 marks, what I was told is that 40 to 50 words is fine until and unless you cover around 3 to 4 points. However, instead of outlining and explaining the impact, I just, the answer became repetitive, it became vague, it became boring. And it was, yeah, again, it became really repetitive. I was repeating the same points a lot. So it mentions dependence on resources multiple times, but does not specify the economic implications, such as tax burden, strain on healthcare pension system. So even though I did refer to 65 plus aged individuals and how they may need help from the government, I did not name drop pension. And what IB really does is that it requires these names, unlike other schools and other boards. It won't give you marks unless you fulfill this criteria or this, this particular topic that you've covered and embodied in your answer. So yeah, do feel free to take a screenshot of this. And for the final question that I'll be covering in this short video of the IB MYP assessment series is the question: evaluate the action plan drawn up by the UNPF in partnership with other entities to strategically curb population explosion in underprivileged and Tier 2 and Tier 3 countries. So again, this was the first time I had ever given such a such a hard paper with such a format. I'd always given 50 mark INS paper, so this was the first time I gave an 80 mark paper. And if I say so myself, I feel like I could have done way better, but I tried my best, and I think that's what's the most necessary. So this was an extremely cool infographic. This was source B, as I mentioned earlier, and eight strategic priorities for action. UNFPA, extremely sorry, and its partners will expand availability and access. So basically, what IB wants from the sources is the clear evaluation and the way you've analyzed these sources, while also reading every single thing. And through evaluate, they don't only mean to, just elaborate all of these. They want you to be critical about it. So they want you to mention what's the negatives, what's the advantages of this, how will this pan out, and etc. So what did I write? So I wrote around 370 words. So first, I wrote a short and brief introduction. The action plan drawn by the UNPF in collaboration with other entities is a multifaceted and multi-pronged approach in strategically curbing and controlling population explosion in different underprivileged tier 2 and tier 3 nations. So I just elaborated the question. So then I started on the first one, and then I made my way down. So it captivates the awareness factor of families living in such nations, as it claims to expand the availability and access to different family planning choices, fostering more awareness and about fertility control and other such factors, possibly causing population explosion. Again, I accidentally wrote possible instead of possibly, but may have had happened in the heat of the moment. Furthermore, it claims to engage the adolescents and youth public as they are the agents of change. This reflects the dependency on the adolescents as a factor that will cause great change. So what I primarily did is that I just in the start. So this was when I was evaluating it, and this was the critic, which I did. So I really organized my data. So So first, I just elaborated every single point, and this was extremely easy, and it got me a few, free words to use. So with the help of this stage, the action plan further solidifies its a possible positive outcome, as the youth is a key factor when it comes to affecting the population, as a lack of awareness and feedback may cause an increase in population. Furthermore, the UNPF aims to approach the population explosion by assessing and synthesizing data, by identifying opportunities, financial tracking, barriers, and other such factors. This way, the action plan becomes more of a fact based approach rather than situation and context based. So, yeah, again, I read this and I just elaborated the same while, using my wider MYP studies. So furthermore, the UNPF also claims that people-centered care and services will take place, which will be done with the inculcation of increased sustainability. There are multiple benefits, such as the incorporation of evidence-based actions and interventions backed by tools and resources. It captivates any sorts of discrimination faced by families too. So this concluded my, culmination of all a strategic priorities, and I even mentioned one point of this. Now, this was, I think, what got me the 8 of 8 marks, and I got 18 out of 20 in criteria B. So, although there are multiple benefits in the action plan, there are drawbacks that could be observed. For instance, in underdeveloped Tier 2 and Tier 3 countries, the reason population explosion increases is mainly due to extremely poor healthcare services. Many babies die or contract diseases, which cause more force for parents to reproduce. So again, I I address that this whole action plan did not captivate how this factor, which is really common in underprivileged tier 2 and tier 3 countries. However, this is not addressed in the strategic action plan. They aim on increasing the healthcare of the families, but it may be difficult to operate that in slum based locations. Furthermore, another factor which causes an explosion in population in such areas is when the girl child is born. So this again was a culmination of my NYP study. So this was not mentioned over here. But again, because they did not include this in the action plan, but I needed to find that out and obtain marks from that. Many families tend to disown them or leave them for adoption, and the families try again for a boy child. However, this is not addressed in the action plan. So let's observe what the teacher gave as recommendations. So the answer appreciates the data-driven approach of the plan, focusing on financial tracking, barriers, and evidence-based actions, making it a structured and analytical effort. These limitations are relevant and highlight gaps that may affect the success of the action plan. The conclusion should summarize whether the action plan is effective despite its flaws or whether the drawbacks significantly hinder its success. So this was a major blunder by me, even though I had 20 minutes free after I completed the entire paper. So we get 2 hours, but I completed the entire paper in 1 hour and 40 minutes. But I did not write a thorough conclusion, such as this action plan is good, but it has these limitations, which I should have done. So again, that is it for the video, and I'll be covering the further questions in the future videos. So if you have any doubts whatsoever, please do feel free to, drop that in the comment box, and I'll be responding them. So thank you for coming on this video. Bye bye.